Welcome to Stick Figure Sorcery, and in this video we'll be going over a quick summary of the classes in Dungeons & Dragons and the differences between them. Let's start with 4 classic classes going back to the early days of the hobby: the spell-slinging wizard, the fighter who's the master of all weapons, the devout holy cleric, and the discreet rogue. Mastering complex magics through knowledge and the power of study and research is the domain of the wizards. With low hit points, they can be really squishy, especially while you're low level, but you can get many of the most powerful spells in the game to make up for that. Of the 6 abilities in the game, intelligence is the most important for you, as it is what your spellcasting is based off. Like all spellcasters, it can be a little complex to start with if you are a new player, but don't be afraid to give it a go. Just read your spells and be willing to ask your game or dungeon master if you're unsure about what they do, and with that you'll do great. If we were to give the wizard a grade for simplicity as a beginner, I would give it a C. Fighters on the surface might be a little less complex than wizards, but that's because they are amazing at being whatever you want to be in the game. Do you want to stand 100 feet away, firing arrows with deadly precision, striking down your foes? Be a fighter. Do you want to be a shining knight with a sword and a shield, standing protectively between your friends and an advancing enemy? Be a fighter. Do you want to be a Swiss Army knife, carrying around a half dozen different weapons so you can always have the right tool for the job? Be a fighter. With a lot of hit points and a wide array of armor you can wear, you'll be a lot more durable than most classes, allowing you to stay in the fight for longer, doing what you do best: fighting. The most important abilities for you will probably be either dexterity or strength. Dexterity if you want to be a ranged or lightweight fighter, and strength if you want to wear armor and use heavier melee weapons. But don't ignore your constitution ability, because that will help you with hit points. It's a much more simpler class for beginners, so I would give it a grade of A. Known for being healers and helpful support casters, the cleric actually has a wide range of spells to harm those who stand against them, as well as to heal and help their allies. Clerics are as varied as the different gods in the pantheons of Dungeons & Dragons or the pantheons of real-world religions. There are gods of life whose clerics are extra boosted at healing and balancing life. Or how about war gods, whose priests are as ready for a fight as any fighter? There are trickery gods who give their followers spells to mislead and bamboozle. All that to say that just because the stereotype is a goody-good healer, you have the power to play a cleric however you want. Your wisdom will be the number 1 ability for you, as it is what you use for your spells. I'd give it a ranking of B for simplicity. The last of the classic 4 is the rogue, master of stealth, picking locks and getting into places they aren't meant to be. Rogues get a lot of training with skills, meaning they are one of the best classes in the game for doing all the different actions that make up the game. They can be charismatic and talk their way past guards, or acrobatically climb over a wall to avoid the guards altogether. They can pick a pocket to try and get the keys to the room they need to get into, or use their thieves' tools to try and pick the lock to that very same room. They might be a backstabbing assassin, or a hard-not-to-love scoundrel who just refuses to live by society's norms. Dexterity will be your most valuable ability. A- for simplicity. Super simple, but it can sometimes be hard to remember exactly how sneak attack triggers, giving rogue the small deduction. The next cluster of 4 classes offers some fun variation to the classic 4. The sorcerer, whose magic spills forth from inside their very blood. The raging barbarian, who shrugs off injuries that would bring down most others. The champion of nature, in tune with the birds and the trees, the druid. And the monk, who has made their body a weapon through strict discipline. Being tied to a powerful source of magic through an event in your life or an ancestral bond might manifest in the creation of a sorcerer. This bond burns magic into your blood and allows you to cast spells without a wizard's study of magic. It even allows you to twist and change how spells work. These sources of magic could be other planes of existence where chaos or order dwells, or a powerful entity such as a dragon who has interacted with you or an ancestor for either good or nefarious purposes. You'll never know as many spells as a wizard, but without the strict learning that they need to go through, you will be able to twist magic to your whims in ways that a wizard could never dream of. The Charisma ability will be your spellcasting ability and therefore your main need. C grade for simplicity. Powered by an inner rage, the Barbarian charges into battle with little to no armor, but the ability to ignore some damage and to dish out even more in retaliation. Unlike the often polished, precise fighter, a Barbarian can be reckless in the attacks, not caring if the opponent hits them because they trust in themselves to do more damage than they will ever take and therefore leave victorious. Strength will be your most important ability, followed by Constitution. A+ for simplicity. Does turning into animals sound fun to you? Then Druid is a great choice. Not just can you become a mouse to sneak into the castle or into a bear to win a fight, you can also tap into nature to aid your friends or hinder your foes with a wide variety of spells. From healing or talking to animals, to causing vines to erupt from the earth to bind in place, or call down lightning from the sky. Become one with nature. Wisdom will be your most valuable ability. I would rank this as C for simplicity. Martial artists who have mastered their body as the way of a monk. From deflecting attacks to punching your opponent a multitude of times, the benefits of this mastery are wide-ranging. Run up walls and fall large distances without injuring yourself. Target pressure points to stun or knock over somebody. By knowing yourself, you also know others and can use that against them. Dexterity followed by wisdom will be your key abilities. This class has a B+ for simplicity. Lastly, we have the 4 remaining classes and a bonus 5th one at the end. The Champion of Virtue Paladin, the Champion of the Wilds Ranger, the Musical Magician Bard, and the Warlock contracted to a powerful entity. If there was a Venn diagram with Fighter on one side and Cleric on the other, the middle overlapping part is a Paladin. The Paladin is the first of what we call half-casters, meaning they get some spells they can use, but not as many as a full caster like a cleric or wizard. But to make up for the less spells, they get the ability to be better with weapons and armor than those 2 classes. A shining beacon of hope, a champion of what is right, a dedicated soldier to a king with no flexibility in their resolve to do what is commanded to them. Strength of character and resolve are as central to a paladin as the weapons and armor they use prodigiously. Strength and charisma will often be your most important abilities. A- for simplicity. Another half-caster is the Champion of Nature, the Ranger. Imagine that Venn diagram from earlier, but cross out the cleric and put in Druid instead. Known for being survival experts out in the wild places of the world, guides to those who would otherwise get lost, or guarding nature from destruction. Rangers are as tied to the natural world as Druids, but with a more martial outlook. Firing a bow down at a poacher while an animal friend charges the enemy. Wading into battle against a creature from another plane of existence that is upsetting the balance of nature. 2 swords flashing as you stalk the dark places of the world where evil dwells. Defending nature can take many forms, but the ranger is best suited to do it. Look to dexterity and wisdom for your main abilities as a ranger. A- for simplicity. Do you love storytelling, playing music, being on stage in the centre of attention? That's the life of a wandering bard. What if your music was so enthralling that those listening to it would do whatever you say? What if your words bolstered the courage of your companions? What if your insults could distract and confound your enemies? And what if your lullaby aided in the rest of those who heard it? Art is magical, and the bard takes that literally. Your personality is what shapes you as a bard, so charisma is your needed ability. B for simplicity. While not a half-caster, the Warlock is a unique spellcaster, so let's bring back the Venn diagram. This time we have Wizard on one side and Cleric on the other. Like clerics, a Warlock gets their spells from a powerful external source, but their spells are much more similar to the spells of a wizard. That source is not a god, but instead something like a powerful fae or fiend. That entity will give you some fun and unique ways to play with spells to make up for the very limited number of spells you can cast. Your charisma will be the main ability for you. C for simplicity. Lastly, our final extra class is the Artificer, another half-caster. It's extra because it's not in the standard book but is allowed at most tables. Let's go back to the last Venn diagram and swap out Cleric for Fighter. Using magic for more than just spells, you can make magic items to boost yourself or your friends. Boost your armor so you can wade right into the front lines of combat. Make a robotic companion to help defend and protect you, or go into potion making to heal or harm as needed. Intelligence is your most valuable ability. I would give the Artificer a C for simplicity. Hope you all found that little overview helpful and inspiring as you pick out a character to play. Now get out there and roll some dice.